Here at Veteran Trash Talk, we actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a Butterbar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran and their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
Buenos Aires, ¿cómo está? Quando quietaia? Yes, how's everybody doing this evening? It's very hot here in Italy. We are starting the show a little bit early tonight because here in Lago Patria, where I just moved, we've been having a lot of power outages. So I told Chris, I said, let's just get it rolling early. We got a break here. So who knows? I'm going to have to try to come up with maybe a solar backup for my IT system and probably for my CPAP. Because if you have CPAP machine, your power goes out, your CPAP don't work no more. So anyway, I've been dealing with that today. Before we jump into the topic today, I want to go around the horn real quick. Put the chair up. I feel like I'm sitting on the floor. There we go. That's my shoulder. Hey, with Reach Across America, it's really amazing what they do during the holiday season. For as little as $10, $15, $20, you can donate money to ensure that the wreaths are placed on the veterans' graves during the holiday season. Super amazing what they do. They've been doing it for many years. And it's just a great way to support the community during the holiday season. Along with that, a lot of people don't realize that you can personalize that. If you have a loved one or a friend and you want to, do something a little extra special to remember them, you can also personalize that. And if you don't know, but you should know, We's Across America Radio, we plays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super, super, super easy to find, super easy to get. Because now they have the We's Across America Radio app. So you just download that app, and you catch all the great podcasts, all the great music. You don't have to do anything special. But if you have too many apps on your phone, you're like, hey, Cliff, come on, man. I just don't want to download any more on my phone. Okay, no problem. If you have that TuneIn app, if you have the Odyssey app, or if you have the iHeartRadio app, you just search for Reese and then follow for Reese Across America Radio. And you'll be able to follow and catch all the great podcasts you had. I talk a lot about Tenth Mountain Whiskey and Bourbon. I do still have some in my... This is funny because now this room has now become my office / pantry. But I do have my 10th Mountain cordials right here. They're not all gone yet, but they do keep kind of disappearing. However, if you haven't tried them out, give them a look-see. We'll share their website. We'll have a little QR code to save you some money. Please try them. They're really great with what they do and how they've been supporting not only Veterans Trash Talk, but also the Mental Health Warrior podcast for many years. But hey, it's great whiskey. And Lloyd's birthday's on Sunday. He turns 12. It's hard to believe. He has a big tournament on Saturday, big baseball tournament with Caserta. And he's really been hitting the ball well. He's been playing well. They've been teaching him how to pitch. The kid can throw hard. Can't really get the pitching down because, it's new. The coach is doing it very slow. He won't be pitching in the games. He'll be catching. But super proud of him. But on August 9th, we're going to have his actual birthday party, and some of his teammates are going to come over with his parents. And then I'm going to pull out a little bit of 10th Mountain whiskey back here, a little bit of the cordial, and let them try it. And then I know they're going to love it because all the Italians love it. So, hey, give them a look-see, give them a try. If you have any Italian friends, invite them over because you'll become the new best friends. But hey, you got Veterans Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage. That video played before it started. If you have any questions about your VA loan, if you want to talk about refinancing, or maybe you want to build a podcast room, maybe you want to have a podcast room / pantry, there you go. They'd be more than happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. And PCS to Paradise, if you're still active duty and you're looking to be stationed in Hawaii, they'd be more than happy to help you find that dream home while you're stationed in Hawaii. And many of you may know I started Crew Dolce Vita with my friend Pepe, and we've been very busy this week. I had an airport run on Monday. Yesterday, we had a tour of Naples. And when we do the tour of Naples, it takes about 5-6 hours to get through the tour. But the family loved it. They enjoyed it. They gave us a very good review on Google. Super happy about that. And then today I was picking the family up at the Afagula train station, taking them to the sports site. They had to do some things. And after they finished the things, I took them back to Afagula. Tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment. And Lloyd has practice tomorrow night. They only have Friday, but they have practice tomorrow. So it's going to be another busy day. And before I jump into tonight's topic, which I think is fairly important because, for me, I just get hit things with all over the place. I just can't seem like I can get ahead in my mind. I think that, right? And, to give you a quick backstory, you guys know that last month I was in Virginia, back home in the States. We put our house on the market for sale, but we had a renter in there for 3 years. And pardon my French, but he was an absolutely piece of shit. And he trashed my house. And so, working through my property manager, he did the final move-out inspection. I wasn't there, but the property manager, I'm assuming, did it. It's going to be an interesting meeting tomorrow I have with him, and I'll jump into that in a second. But I have every right as a homeowner to go in after he moves out and inspect the house for more damage, for which I did, and I found a butt ton of it. I documented it, wrote a letter of the perceived damages of the house with photo proof, of course, and I submitted it to the property manager. Now, what I'm finding out now is I don't know if that property manager actually gave it to the renter, but he's now denying that he damaged my house at all. And there's about $30,000 of damage to my house. So we're going to sit down and have a little powwow about it. I did document everything thoroughly. So if you ever go through this with a renter, and I've had rental properties for many years, it's very important to document things. I took very detailed pictures. Thank God for the cameras on cell phones now. I took video. I used AI to determine what was considered normal wear and tear and what wasn't. Because you don't know. Look up Virginia regulations on renting and blah, blah, blah. And so we're going to have a very interesting meeting tomorrow about that. But that's got me all spun up and was stressed out the last couple of days. Just because, it's just you try to help people out and you try to be nice. And there was at one point he had requested to lower the rent of the house. And we agreed to lower it like $800 a month, which I wish I never did. Because when I went home, allegedly this guy was subletting out the basement to a guy that lived in for a year. And I know this because my neighbor told me. So once again, this piece of crap, doo-doo brains, not only wanted to say he had a hardship, needed rent reduced, he was subletting the house out. And I think he was doing a lot more than that because the house was really, really trashed. And, I had to stay in the States for 2 weeks longer, kind of screwed things up. And so, obviously, he didn't get his deposit back, and that's what he's crying about. And he's claiming there was no damage to the house, and he can claim whatever the hell he wants. I got video proof. I got video. I got proof. A lot of proof, and a lot more proof than what I sent in the documentation that I sent him. So if he wants to play around and go to court, I have no problem with that. I have no qualms with that. It's my legal right to do so, and we can argue about it, and I'll lawyer up. No issue. That's just how pissed off I am about it. But you always try to help people out, and you always try to look for the good. But you can't let a few bad apples really change your perspective or really make you be less willing to help people, right? One of the things that I do with Crudo Chavita is that we've been helping families who PCSing back to the States. And if anybody who's ever lived in been stationed overseas, Oconus, you know how that is. A couple weeks, they ship all your household goods and you have temporary furniture. Now you're staying in a hotel, and a lot of times you have a lot of bags. I mean, I took one family that had 21 bags that stuck in my van. 21 bags, a bunch of duffel bags, and then they had 2 dogs and a husband, wife, and a daughter. But if you didn't have somebody like myself, who's retired military, who has access to the base, you don't have a car anymore. You shipped it. How are you going to go from the hotel or where you're at to get somebody to pick you up, take you to the airport? It's hard to do. And so to kind of help with that need, I shifted Crudo Chavita, where we do airport runs now. We've been doing quite a few lately. And I try to make it as less stressful on the family as possible because that's the right thing to do. I still charge a fee because I have to, but it helps. It makes it less stressful and it doesn't matter to me. I'll come get him at 4:30 in the morning. Hey, Brian, how you doing? We had to start early because of power outages. And I try to help out anybody. You guys know that with the Mental Health Warrior podcast and my speaking events. I could charge a lot more money than I do, but I don't. I try to work with everybody and within the thing to try to help as many people as I can. It's just my bloody nature. But when somebody does me wrong, when you done them right, that's hard to get over with, and that wears on you mentally and physically. And I noticed today because the crap kind of hit the fan last night. Now we had a nice tour yesterday in Naples. Took a very nice family around. They loved it. They enjoyed it. I get home and it's late, and I'm kind of starting to relax and unwind. And then I see the email from the renter denying that he damaged the house, all the other bullshit. And so that really got me spun up. So I didn't sleep too well last night. So I was kind of tired today. Then I had to go to the train station. I had to pick up a family that was coming in from Rome, and I went and got them. But after I picked them up, I took them to support site, and I just didn't drop them off. I showed them where the MBO was, for the motor vehicles, and kind of give them the lay of the land and let them know, hey, if you need anything, I have to go back to Lago Patria. But I said once I get back, it'd take me about 30 minutes to get back. So text me if you need something. And then I went back and picked them up this evening and took them back to the Alfagola train station. They got on the way to Rome. Very nice family, 3 young kids, or no, 4 young kids. Yeah, 6 of them, 4 young kids. And they've only been in about a week and a half, and so they're trying to figure out the ropes. And so I try to help them out as much as I can. But then there was times today where I just got really angry and frustrated for no reason. Like they're doing a bunch of utility work on the house here, on the road, and the roads are narrow where we live. And we just moved in here 2 weeks ago, so I'm trying to figure out how to shuffle the van in and out of the driveway. And it's a huge pain in the butt in the car and trying to get things packed and settled and just dealing with life and everything. And it just feels like it's coming at me from all different directions. And every time I try to fight one thing, something else pops up the other way. And when I try to fight this thing, something else pops up over there, and something else pops up over there. And it feels like I'm playing whack-a-mole with my life, and I can't get it figured out how to get it working again. And it's really frustrating. I haven't even had time to work out. I'm gonna go work out tomorrow. I decided I'm gonna work out tomorrow. And so I'm going to. I got a doctor's appointment at 10:10. And after the doctor's appointment, I'm going to go to the gym workout because I think that'll help my mental health because I usually run at night and I usually work out, and I haven't been doing that. So I think I need to do that for my mental health. The things with the renter that was in my house, I got to let that go. I have documented proof. I know I'm in the right, and everything of that will play out. And so I need just to quit dwelling on that and being upset about it. Because if you let things just wear on you too much, it'll just really start affecting your life and your mental health. And so sometimes you just need to let things go. I think I lost a little bit of weight. Yeah. Anyway, stress will do that. Stress will take weight off you. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I almost thought about canceling the podcast tonight. I really did. I really was not in a good space mentally. And I just really thought, well, maybe I ought to just throw in the towel and I had the podcast tonight. But I didn't do it because it's something that I tell Lloyd, it's easy to go and practice and train when you feel good, when you feel strong, when you're rested. I said, but you become a better player and a better person if you do things when you're tired. Because it's easy to do things when things are easy. It's hard to do things when things are hard. And so, even though I'm mentally worn out, even though I'm mentally tired, physically, I'm not physically tired. I think I'm physically bored because I'm so used to working out and so used to movement and doing things. The fact that I haven't been doing that, I think my body is just it's ready to move and ready to do those things. And so I've made a choice that next week I'm going to boil down because the house is about all put together now that I can really start focusing on the things that makes my mental health better. And I think for a lot of people out there who are listening, if you're going something similar to I have or what I've been going through this week, and it's very frustrating. I still got a lot of probably stressful days to go, but that's okay. You have to remember and think back to when you were able to manage those stress, when you're able to manage, all those things coming at you at once. And what did you do to do that? Or what's different now that maybe you don't realize has changed? And when I sat down and thought about it, I think it's the working out because I haven't really done that. And even when I was in Missouri, I worked out a couple of times, but I was so focused on getting the house done from that guy trashing it that I really didn't work out. And so I really haven't worked out like I normally do for about a month and a half. And I think it's really just starting to take a toll on me. And so one of the things I can do that I know to help my mental health is to go back to what I know, and what I know is working out. And so I think for me, I think that's what I'm going to focus on next week. So when I get to the doctor's appointment, and it's no big deal. I had a rheumatological appointment with an Italian doctor. He was a great doctor, and he wants to run a bunch of tests on me. I think I'm having not having issues, but I think I know what's going on with me, and it goes back to my time in Iraq. Anybody who's been to war overseas in Afghanistan, Iraq, you get strange crap that goes on in your body because of those deployments. And some of it could have been the vaccines gave us. Who knows? I don't know. The anthrax vaccine was just the most BS thing ever that they're mandating for us to take. So we're going to figure that out. We can get to the bottom of it. Hopefully we'll know what it is. Of course, now we're living in the new house in La Patria. We lose power a lot. That affects my Starlink. That affects my CPAP machine, which in turn affects me not sleeping well. And so there's just a lot of things I got to do. I got to look by getting a UPS system for the CPAP, which they make them. It's no big deal. And then I'll probably buy me a solar generator for my Starlink. Not a very big one, but just big enough to charge phones, or if I need an extra charger or something, but also to keep the Starlink live all the time so it doesn't go through that power down, power up phase. There's times that yesterday we lost power, I don't know, half a dozen times, and then last night it went off. I think it started at 1:30 and really didn't come back on until 5 in the morning. And then today, actually, I left to go to pick the couple up at the airport and their kids, not the airport, the train station. And when the power came back on in the house, it popped the main circuit breaker. Well, Lloyd doesn't know how to do any of that. And so I had to show him today how to reset the breakers in case it happens and I'm not home. And so we had a conversation about that, and I showed him how to do that. But hopefully I know they're doing a lot of wiring on the street. They're running a lot of wires. So maybe they're going to get the power fixed and it'll quit going out. But that's one thing you deal with in Italy, right? When you be thankful in the States that most of the time you don't have to deal with rolling blackouts. But here in Italy, you do. It's been very, very hot here in Italy. Been hot for a very long time, actually. It's normally hot this time of the year, but it seems like it's been hotter. And then we had the little flying devils around everywhere, mosquitoes. And oh, by the way, surprisingly, that if you use peppermint extract and you put a little dab on your wrist and on your arm and this, and put it around your neck and exposed skin, that the peppermint smell really does a good job of keeping mosquitoes away. Yeah, so man, look into that. But anyway, so if things are going south and you feel like life's coming at you at all directions and you just can't get ahead, and it just seems like that you're like here on the water, right? You just barely, not quite over your nose, but just a little bit under it. But no matter what you do, you put your head up around, you're always right back in it. Think about what you were doing before you felt that. And like I said earlier on, I know physical exercise has a great effect on your body with the release endorphins and other things that it does. And so if you haven't done it or if you need to do it, if you think you should, start working out. And so I'm going to go back to working out. I'm going to find me a running trail here in Lago Patria that I can go and run at night safely. It's a pretty safe neighborhood that we live in. Pretty quiet. When right, by the NATO base, so it should be okay. Um, yeah, my daily routine has done a 180, and I think that's really affected me. So I got to get it back. I got to steer the shift right back right. And I know I don't know. I know it's hard. I know it's silly, but when your routine gets really messed up, right? Like we moved to a new house. We lived in the apartment on base for a while, and I had my routine, right? I had days I go do this, days I want to do that. And here I just haven't been able to do that, right? Because I got, you know, we got all moved, and we only been here for what, a weekend, couple of days. But I got all the boxes unpacked, but I got 6 boxes left, 6 boxes, and I get those all done, and then yeah, I haven't been able to play Destiny, the video game Destiny, right? And probably not what your reference, Brian, but I got 6 boxes left to get unpacked. I'll get those unpacked. We'll start getting everything organized. I still need to make the appointment with transportation to get the stuff brought back out here that's in storage in Virginia, along with getting the Mustang shipped out here. But I got till the end of August to do that. And so just a lot of things on my plate. And so I just really need to start working on getting everything organized again. And so that's what I'm going to do. And plus, kudo to Vita, which I'm really happy about that. When you start a new business, never know how it's going to go, but we've been busy. And so that's added another dynamic layer into it. But overall, everything is fine and everything will get better. And I have to try and keep a positive mental attitude and knowing that things will continue to get better and things will continue to improve once I start doing the things that I know I need to do. Get back to the gym, get back to pushing those weights, get back to running, uh, take care of things I need to take care of with what I going on that I talked about earlier. Continue to work on growing Kudo Shavita and of course the mental health warrior. And I tell myself that I'm gonna try to keep a positive mental attitude, and I'm going to look at things differently tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about it tonight, and I have been talking about it, and then tomorrow I'm gonna look at things differently. And so I got the doctor's appointment. I'm gonna wear my gym clothes. And as soon as I'm done with that doctor, just right across from the gym, I'm gonna walk my happy butt across to that gym. And I'm gonna go work out. And then I'm going to figure out either talk to the local gym down the street about joining it or just figure out a new routine where I can go and get back to the weights and get back to doing the things that I love. Because I really think that's effective. And if you're somebody out there who's listening and you're like what I've been going through, where things just don't seem like they're going in the right direction or they seem to be going south or something happens, just try to look at it differently. Look at it holistically. And if you have to, take notes. I write down notes and try to hard look and see if anything has changed. And if it has changed, why did it change? How is that change affecting you? And then what can you do to turn that change around to make it more positive and not so negative? And that's one thing that I've been working on. And so if you got any thoughts or tips out there that you want to share with anybody on what you can do, I think for me, it's just what I talked about. One, I'm going to get back to working out. Two, I got to get back to running. Three, I got to finish, getting the house unpacked and getting it organized. A lot of that goes back to my TBI, brain injuries, where I don't sleep well when things are too messy and other stuff. And so well, anybody with ADHD knows that you're just constantly moving and doing stuff. So I'll get that all taken care of. And then I'll try to focus more on the positive and not so much the negative. And I think I've been focusing on negative things too much. And I think that's really probably affected me more than anything. Because I don't want to keep having those negative vibes come into my life. So I'm going to keep thinking positive and positive thoughts, and knowing that as long as I do that, and as long as I stick to the plan, then things will start coming together. I think, and that's what I'm going to do. And so, do that if you can. But I've been watching a lot of things out there about a lot of things going on with veterans. There's a lot of new apps out there that talk about your VA benefits and different things you need to do. And one thing I want to talk about tonight, and I was going to do it early on, but I kind of jumped into the subject, but I'm going to go back to this because I don't want to forget it. But if you're a veteran out there, if you served in the service, and I don't care if you served 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 34 years, like I did, 40 years, um, and you haven't done your VA benefits, you really, 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 really need to apply for your VA benefits. Because not only if it's going to benefit you, obviously it would, but it's also going to benefit your family. And, a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people about this, like, oh, well, I only served for this amount of time. I really don't deserve it. And you did deserve it. If you serve in the military, you deserve to use your VA benefits, especially for your mortgages, to get your disability rating. Even if you get rated 0, that 0 rating has benefits associated with it. And if you're a veteran, you need to get your certificate to be buried in the veteran cemetery. I have mine for Arlington Cemetery. So and a lot of people don't like thinking about that, but it's important to do those kinds of things. But there's a lot of changes going on. You've heard about. I don't know if you guys heard about what's going on with the budget and how they're looking at trying to change some of the VA ratings and kind of goof that up, but that kind of got thrown out in Congress. Thank God they did that. And so everything right now is pretty much status quo like it was. But if you are getting ready to retire, you're getting ready to get out of the military, and you haven't started the process, I would go ahead and start that. It's a very long process. And, I tell people this all the time. When you're going through your evaluations with the doctor, right, you went into the VA, you worked with the BSO, you veteran service officer, and now you're going to those appointments with that doctor. Just keep one thing in mind. That doctor has a checklist from the VA. He doesn't know all of your medical history. What I found out is they didn't even read my medical history, but they want to have a conversation with you about it. And it's that conversation that you need to be as most convincing about the condition that you're there to see him. And it's very important. I mean, I remember one time and I went to saw a psychiatrist. Now, you guys know my story. I have a TBI, I have ADHD. All of it's been diagnosed through the brain clinic, the traumatic brain center there, and the Trepid Center in Fort Belvoir. So I've been tested. So I have it. You can't deny it. And of course, my PTSD and my suicide attempt, all that's very well documented in my records. But I went to this one doctor for the VA, worked on my VA rating as I was retiring. And she was going through the checklist, and she goes, "Well, post traumatic stress syndrome, we don't call that anymore. We call," and she said something else. I never heard that phrase. And that turned into an argument with her. I was like, "Well, I don't, ma'am, I don't care what they call it in your arena. I don't care what they call it now or how you perceive it to be, post traumatic syndrome. But right now in the military, uh, it's still called, and still, as far as I know of, PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome. It hasn't changed." And so that turned into a little bit of argument with her. And I was like, well, I walked out of the office thinking I probably just pissed her off. Right at the end of the conversation I had with her, she said, "Okay, fine. I don't care. I'll mark it down as PTSD and go on." Um, which I didn't know why I even went into that. I mean, yeah, so what? You're doing a checklist, but why are you going to argue with somebody about what the technical term is if it changed? They used to call it shell shocked or, back in World War II, World War One. So, just because you arbitrarily decide to change it doesn't make it right. And so if you're going through your VA and you're going through evaluations, and even if you got 100%, 50%, 60%, you need to go back and relook at those things. Because especially if you served in the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, there's been some changes to the VA and how they perceive certain injuries that you may have occurred or not. And so you might want to look into that. If every state has a BSO officer, maybe you need to call and talk to them. That's what their job is. And maybe you can get your rating boosted up. There's quite a bit of money involved with that. And don't be ashamed to do it. The I think when they call it VA disability, they should call it something different. But I think, they're like me. I'm 100% disabled, permanent total, but I'm still a physical able guy. And for a lot of guys out there and women, they have a stigma about being disabled. Well, because of their mind, and my mind too, disabled like I'm missing a limb or I'm in a wheelchair or I have some different physical abilities that does allow me to do certain things. And if somebody who looks healthy or is healthy, um, they've kind of embarrassed you. My brother was the same way. He didn't do his VA stuff for like 20 years. And finally got him to go and file his VA stuff. And I think he got like rated at 70 or 80%. He might be at 90. No, I think he's at 80%. Anyway, but he was like, I don't need to do it. There's nothing wrong with me. Physically, there's nothing wrong with me. Yeah, Chris, I get that. But it's not the same thing. You can't think that way. When you sign a contract to join the military, they've already compensated that into your service. So all you're doing is giving that money back to the government if you don't go and do your VA stuff or file for it. And if there's secondary things or third things that come up, because of your service, you need to have it documented so then you can get the service that you rightfully deserve. And so look into your VA benefits if you're not quite 100%. But you're close, or if you want to go in and get reevaluated on things, look at what's going on with the VA and the changes. I think it's very important. It's always very important to be an educated consumer. But look at those changes that's going on and see, if you need to go in and file a claim on this, that, or the other. Because you really need to, because it's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit your children, it's going to benefit you and your life on down the line with that proper rating that you deserve. And so go ahead and if you haven't done so, start your VA process. Now, word of warning or word of caution. I don't know if it's changed or not. I don't think it has. But if you never filed a VA claim, right? And you go into va.gov and you go in and start putting in your medical information. The only issue with that, there's nothing wrong with it, but once they come back with a rating on that, unless something new is determined, that's not going to change. But if you went through a VSO and the VSO put you in, and let's say they rated you at 10% for something, but in your mind, when you entered it yourself, why did they give me just 10% for this? I think I should have been at least 20 or 30. Well, to go back and re-argue that, unless you find a new condition, you can't do it. If I'm not explaining this good enough, I apologize. But if you went through a VSO and the VSO looks at that and says, oh, wait a second, this should have been higher. They can go back and argue with you for that and get that changed. Now, also with that, if you filed some stuff with the VA and then you thought, okay, I can't go any farther, so then you file with the VSO can't go back and redid what you filed before unless they find a new existing condition. And I think for a lot of people don't realize that. And so it's very important that you go through the VSO first to have that. And then that'll make your life a lot easier if you have to go through and try to change things else in your VA rating. So there's a lot of moving parts there. Please look into that. Please take the time. You're entitled to it. It's good for your mental health. You deserve it. There's nothing wrong with you if you get whatever rating you get. And just don't let the government have the money back. You deserve it. And so I implore you to go out there and get that done, get your VA rating, and get your VA mortgage, get that certificate, do all the things that you need to do. You put it off too long, and now it's just time to go and do it. So that's your homework for this week. If you haven't done it, your homework this week is to reach out to a BSO. And there's many organizations out there. I know Veterans Trash Talk knows many. Many's been on their show. Some have been on our show. They have a lot of non-profits out there to help you with it. Now, when my brother did his, he hired an attorney and he had to pay a little bit extra money with the attorney, but they will help him get the rating they want. I'm not saying that you need to do that because you can't. Because you can go through VSO, they're free. And so look into that. And even if you had filed a claim, it's been a long time, it doesn't hurt to go back and relook at it because now maybe you're having knee problems where back then you wasn't, but your knee problems related to your service. Because, oh, by the way, you're airborne. And so if you're airborne, of course your knees are going to be falling apart, your hips and elbows and all that stuff. So, but don't think that just because you did your initial VA and now you're having another condition pop up in your body that may be service related, but you just don't realize it. But because you got older and that injury is now coming to light, you need to go back and get that document again and get you another rating for that. It's very important to do that. And I think for a lot of times, especially for us men, we just ignore it and go on. You don't want to go back and deal with it. And that's really the wrong thing we should do. We should be really going in and doing those things so then you can get the rating that you deserve and that you should have. And so If you haven't looked at your VA stuff, go out, look at it, look at all the changes. I know they're looking at a pretty good pay raise this year in January, so hopefully that goes through. I hope they don't make the changes with the CPAP and other stuff, but keep an eye on that because uh, there's different ratings for 100%. You guys know that. Well, some ratings at 100% is just because it's temporary because you're having surgery or something. Some ratings, if 100%, I think if you every 5 years you have to go through a reevaluation. And then, of course, like me, when you're 100% permanent total, they'll never go back and try to change your rating or do anything with you. Pretty much hands off at that point. So that's really the one that you want. And I know, at least in Virginia, when you're permanent total, that opens up a lot of benefits that you have that you wouldn't have if you wasn't that way. So look at your VA stuff. It may be painful. You may not want to do it. It may seem very monotonous, but it's important that you should do it. And then what you should do is try to file a new claim if you think you have an existing condition that relates back to your service. And I'm just going to say it did, right? Because you served and they broke your body down. So go out and do that. I do have Bull with me today. I'm not drinking tonight, so Bull's in the background. He's up there on my computer hanging out. Not had a drink, so I gotta go to tomorrow, and I'm just tired. And I think one of the things too is not that I drink a lot, because like yesterday I had like 2 beers, and I think maybe 4 ounces of scotch, maybe not, probably not even that much. Which hour span of 6 8 hours, that's really not drinking a lot. But tonight I want to be real rested because when you do drink alcohol, you don't sleep as well. So I'm not going to drink tonight. So probably when I finish the podcast, I'm going to head to bed and just get the good night's sleep and the good night's rest and see if that helps me mentally tomorrow. And I think it will. Sometimes you just need good rest, right? Maybe I'll take some honey tonight since I'm not drinking because I really do like taking honey at night before I go to bed. But you can't take honey at night if you're been drinking because the two different sugars in your body and it goofs it up. And I did that once and it kind of screwed my system up for 2 days. So I won't ever do that again. So there you go. I hope that, tonight's podcast helped people out there. I hope that if you're like me and you're being pulled in many different directions and you become very stressful and you get poked and pried in one spot and you try to fight that off and you move to the other and it just seems like a big circle and you can't break through. Look what changed in your life, right? And so that's what I had to do. And that's what I talked about earlier on is what changed in my life. Well, let's see, I moved. I have a different routine now. We lose power a lot in this house, and I think that has to do with the working on lines. And so then I really had to change and look at myself and see what maybe I was doing wrong. And I think one of the things on top of my chaotic schedule is I once again staying up late at night till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I need to stop that habit again because it just perpetuates. And then I get tired and I don't want to sleep or when I nap during the day, which is nothing wrong with napping. But I'm just saying that I need to start and focus on going to bed a lot earlier. Yeah, I did a flip flop, Brian. Sure did. And I had flip flops on today. So I did a double flip flop. But yeah, so that's important. So, if your schedule changed or if things got wonky, look back on your life, look back when they wasn't going wonky, and see what you can do to make that change or steer the ship back on the right path. And that's what I'm going to do is I have to make a concerted effort to go back to working out. I know that's what's affecting me because it also affects my back. When I don't keep that worked out and strong, I start having issues with it. So now I know what I need to do. And, I have a pool in my house. If you guys saw the new pictures, you know how many times I've been in that pool? Once. I should be in that pool every day swimming. At least doing stretching exercise or something because it's a good way to stretch the muscles out. And I've only been in that pool once. And that one time was yesterday. We live in this house for 10 days now. I've been in that pool once. That's another thing I think I'm going to change. I think I'm going to start making a concerted effort to go swim more in the pool. We got a little bit too much chlorine in there right now, so I'm kind of let it phase out some. And then I'll do some things a little bit differently in it. But yeah, I need to probably get in that pool more and swim. I think that would help me out. But hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thoughts and prayers for you out there. If you're going through a lot of stuff, I know how rough it can be, how tough it can be, but you can get through this because you are strong and you are a mental health warrior. And you know what? Reach Across America, it's pretty amazing what they do during the holiday season, where they help memorialize the veterans out there. And so if you can donate some money, they'd be more than happy to do that. To ensure those wreaths are placed on the tombs of their at the cemeteries. All across America, they do it, and not just in Arlington, but I am still associated with Arlington Hall or Arlington Cemetery. And you can also personalize it. Talk about that earlier. So maybe you get that buddy or friend or grandfather or uncle, and maybe you've been thinking about them or they're wearing on your mind. Don't let it reef. Have the name put on it. The website will tell you everything you need to know. Why not? That might help put your mind at ease. Yeah, swimming is an excellent workout. With 10th Mountain Whiskey, I talked about that earlier. You can go out there, take a look, see their cordial is pretty amazing. I think I have that box here. Here it is, right here. Yeah, the whiskey rye, baby. That's what you want. Let's see. I get my camera zooming. The whiskey rye. Yeah, try this. Look it up on the website. Whiskey rye. This is some really. If I was drinking tonight, I'm not drinking tonight. But if I was getting a drink tonight, I'd be down in this little puppy right here. Huh? Right here. It's whiskey rye. It's really good. So look at that color of that. Look at that golden color of that. Huh? Anyway, we showed the website. We showed the QR code. You can save some money. Give them a look-see. You will not be disappointed. If you watched the podcast at the very beginning, you had the Veterans Mortgage powered by Canopy Mortgage. You're more than happy with any questions you have with your VA. I talked about VA stuff. That's what they're going to do this week. And so they'll help you with VA stuff. And hey, if you're still active duty and you're getting ready to be stationed out in Hawaii, excuse me, scan that QR code for PCS to Paradise, and they'll be more than happy to help you find your dream home while you're stationed in Hawaii. You know what? Yay, we made it through the show and we didn't lose power. So that's a good sign. Good positive sign. So you know what? That'll be one of my wins today when I go to bed, when I think about the 3 good things that happened to me today. Okay, so let's talk about that. And then I'm going to go. So what good thing happened to me today? Well, I had a airport run today. I mean, a train station run. That went well. Helped the family out. Lloyd had a great practice today. And the power didn't go out during the podcast. That's 3 positive things that happened. I actually got a lot done today. So there. But hey, listen, we are brothers and sisters keepers out there. Summer is wearing on. We're about made it through July. It's going to be August next week. Wow, it's hard to believe it's going to be August already. Where did this summer go? Hey, Brian, appreciate all your words and everything. Next week, I might try to get a guest on next week. I need to shoot them an email. We'll keep one thing in mind. The month of August, I take off. We don't have any podcasts the month of August, but Chris and I will come up with a lineup for Reads Across America Radio, and they'll be playing some of the past episodes, from the Mental Health Warrior, and then I'll be back in September. So I think I'll try to get, because next week's the last week before the August, so I'll try to get on a guest on next week. But hey, guys, take care of each other. Let's look out. We are brothers and sisters keepers, and we'll see you guys next week.